Hey guys, so some of you asked me to go into more detail about how to calculate the width of the interval, interpolating values, so sure, I'm quite happy to do that. This is something that I realize I didn't cover so well in lecture, so here we go. On a test or an exam, you will most likely get something that looks like this. You'll get a table with only some of the values filled out. So what you need to do is calculate the cumulative frequency and the cumulative percent. We'll start with the cumulative frequency. I'm going to do this a little bit of a cheating way, but you can totally do this with pen and paper as well. So I'm just going to say equal sum, and I'm going to sum all of these values here. But it'll work if you just plug all of these numbers into a calculator and just sum them up. So in my case, that's 41. That is what the entire sum of all of these numbers is. To get the rest of these values, I'm just going to say equals this value right above and subtract this value here. So that looks good, and I'm just going to drag down to fill in the rest of the values. So this reproduces what's in my slide from last night. Now for the percentage values. In order to get these, you essentially want to just take this and you want, well, this value here, and you want to divide it by itself. We're going to divide every number by this total value here. So what we want to do is make sure that that doesn't jump around. This will work in Excel as well. So you want to put in a $sign here and a $sign here. This means basically stay on this value. Don't jump around. That's what those $signs are doing. And then we're going to drag down. This gives us some horrendous looking results, but you can see it kind of looks like what we expect. That's 87, 73, 68. These are the values that we had before. We just need to format them. So if we go format, and we go, I believe it's the text value. Where is it? No. So, here we are. Percentages, and we would like there to be no decimals. Okay, so now we've reproduced the table that we had in lecture from last night. So now we need to calculate the width of the interval for both the percentage and the x values, given that we want to find the 50th percentile. I've highlighted right here the values that you should pay attention to, because these values contain the 50th percentile from 49% to 63%. So what we're going to do is we're going to take the upper bins, or the upper width of the interval, and that's because we're dealing with bin values. The value 63% refers to a cumulative percentage. It refers to a cumulative frequency. And similarly, 49% refers to a cumulative frequency. Therefore, we're going to take the upper real limits of each of these values in order to make sure that we are accounting for all of the values up to that point. So in this case, 63 minus 49 is 14. In this case, 69.5 minus 59.5 is 10. So now we need to calculate the fraction of the total width of the interval for the known value. And in this case, we know that we are looking for 50%. I always recommend that if you are doing this, you create a version of this table. You're going to want to have your known values. It might be the percentages. You might have the x value. These things can flip, but I'm just giving you the percentage demonstration right now. So in our case, the entire width of the interval, we know that. We just calculated it. 63 minus 49% is 14. The width of the interval to our value of interest, which is 63 to 50%, is 13. So the fraction is 13 over 14, or 0.928. So now you just take this fraction and the decimal that you calculated, and you multiply it by the width of the interval here. So in our case, 69.5 minus 59.5 is 10, and we multiply that by the fraction that we just did. So 0.928 multiplied by 10, 9.28. Our score is located 9.28 units from the top. So then it becomes a simple case of subtraction, and you subtract 9.28 from your upper real limit, which is 69.5, to give you the percentile value that you are finally looking for. So in this case, it's 60.22. I appreciate everybody who actually pointed out that this was unclear, and please continue to do so. I'm quite happy to explain things as many times as is necessary.